Hello everybody, Smith here. Welcome back to some more BD Armory. Today we are taking a look at combat
in space.
Not sure what that was. Anyway, yes. Ever since BD Armory came out, people have been wanting to do sci-fi style space battles with this, but it's a physics-based mod designed for combat much closer to the surface, and space battles are buggy, they're janky, they're basically impractical without some pretty inconvenient workarounds. Until recently. Well, possibly that is. In the 1.4.14 update, BD Armory got a couple of new options which should assist you with setting up the aforementioned space battles, and we're going to go and just take a quick look to see if they actually do the job they say they will. So maybe, finally, we can get some decent battles
in space.
Sorry, let's move on. So we're here on the runway with a special space version of my Cyclone fighter I've built, and we've also got sort of the visual bug kicking in every now and again. I haven't managed to track down the source of that. Actually, it seems to have doesn't seem to be as bad as it usually is. Anyway, yes, this is just the same as my normal Cyclone, but with some Aerospike engines on it and a few Werner engines to help it maneuver in space. Anyway, yes, we go into the BD Armory settings. The things we're going to look at today are just these two things here. We click Space Combat Tools and we can see Space Friction and Ignore Gravity. So, the first problem we have is getting our craft to space. Now, I don't recommend you use the set orbit in the cheat menu because, yeah, with space friction on, it sort of replaces the atmosphere for up in space for actually being able to maneuver reasonably well. But it really doesn't like it when you're travelling at 2.5 kilometres. In fact, if you try and pull any tight turns, the Kraken bites pretty seriously. So how do you get up to space? Well, it's sort of the old-fashioned way, I'm afraid. You just have to sort of take your craft off and travel up there. Yeah. The first thing to note is that even in the atmosphere, space friction does actually take effect. It will limit your top speed. We should be flying at well past the speed of sound at the moment, but we definitely are not. The second thing is to note that with space gravity and space friction and ignore gravity on, the whole thing is linked to the surface of Kerbin. So if you have orbit selected on the nav ball, things will get pretty confusing. But with surface, they make a lot more sense. It's very much that sort of Star Wars style, let's ignore orbital mechanics kind of thing. The second thing to note is that if, like me, you've chosen a, well, not entirely suitable fighter for the task, the Cyclone, the thrust vector is, does not go through the centre of mass. So, yeah, you're going to need some kind of reaction control system on there, which, as I sort of mentioned earlier, is sort of useful for just manoeuvring in space anyway, but at the moment is keeping the craft on the straight and narrow, as is the fact I've had to turn down the thrust a little bit. If we look at the map, yeah, this can be slow and tedious. There's probably a shortcut to doing this with something like Vessel Mover or what have you, but I'm doing it sort of the long way round. And yeah, it is the long and tedious way round. So, nearly into space here. How are we doing? Yeah, our apoapsis is well above the atmosphere. Oh, another thing to note, yeah, you will definitely need to turn on infinite fuel for this. There's no way in hell I would get away with doing this just with the normal fuel load of this craft. We can see that the speed is dropping now. That's not gravity, because gravity is currently being completely ignored. That is just the space friction taking effect. If I actually just turn this round and bring us to a halt, something like that. Yeah, you can see we are not really picking up any speed. We're certainly not falling back towards the ground with anything like the rate that gravity would normally take us. Yeah, orbit we're travelling super fast, but the surface speed is barely moving. I said that space friction does the job that aerodynamics would do in the atmosphere. That's kind of a little bit of a simplification. All space friction does is basically just adds a simple resistance to motion to your craft. If I actually just throttle up and we get this going with a little bit of speed, yep, the Werner engine's kicking in there to keep us level, and I just cut the engines, yeah, immediately our speed starts to drop. All that means is that it will mean your fights aren't like just strict Newtonian mechanics. Anybody who's played things like the original Elite or Frontier Elite 2 knows the sort of combat that can be involved in that. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfectly Star Wars-esque, but it's a massive improvement and should allow you to actually set up some of these battles. I think we've seen, though, that the space version of my Cyclone is not the craft for the job if we do want to put on a proper space battle. We need to go design ourselves a specialist space fighter. I mean, specialist in the context of the settings we've turned on. So I think we'll do a bit of time-lapse footage because I think showing you the design process is vital to padding out this video to a respectable runtime. So enjoy! So here it is, my Centaur space fighter. I did make a quick change after I finished recording. I decided, yeah, we'd better put some kind of reaction wheel on there, just to make sure if this thing actually can turn enough. Of course, it's got wings. You wouldn't normally have wings on a space fighter. Well, they're not necessary, but at the moment we do need a bit of atmospheric control, and also it gives us somewhere to stick some missile pylons. So that's pretty good. There has been, well, I have had to do some little lip service to actually having this thing take off from a runway, so we've got some, well, a pretty weird combination of landing gear on there, but hopefully it will work. Let's see how well this thing takes off. Maybe turn off the brakes. That would be handy. Give it full blast. I'm really worried about hitting these HEKV missiles on the runway. No, we took off just fine. Let's get this thing pointing upwards. Yeah, I just opted for the 2 Vulcan cannons in the end, just fairly standard. You could use turrets or the lasers on this, but I just wanted to keep it simple. And we are using the HEKV missiles because they are supposed to be, missiles that can work in a vacuum. So I thought we'd test this out, and this is going to take me an age to actually get 2 of these things into orbit. So yeah, we'll just skip all of that. Okay, so it was a colossal pain in the ass to get both of these things up here because I thought, well, what I did was I brought one up and then thought, well, I'll just switch back to the space center. But no, if you do that, yeah, with these BD Armory settings, your craft counts as being under acceleration, which technically, compared to the normal frame of reference for the physics engine, it is. So you can't switch back to the space center. I had to go all the way back down. I had to bring 2 of these things up at the same time, and yeah. Anyway, we're here now. We are here now. I'm going to set these onto different teams. I don't exactly know how this is going to work. Let's just quick save this. I mean, show competition settings. What do we want to do there? Do we just try it? Set this out to like 5 kilometers and see what happens? I mean, why not? Let's give it a go. Okay, so they're not really... Oh my god, are they trying to get to their default altitude? Oh my god, they're trying to get to their default altitude. 1 second. Okay, that was quickly fixed, and the competition is starting, and this one just launched an HEK missile and blew itself up, and it looks like the other one did likewise. Let's maybe try that again. Okay, let's see if this goes a little bit smoother. They save the competition settings. No, I'm gonna... Let's have it out at 10 kilometers. Let's see if that does make a difference. It's going a bit nuts, and it's sort of keeping at its default speed, which I think is supposed to be... Oh, for God's sake. Oh, for God's sake. Well, at least it looks like this one's got a lock, so we do get to see if this thing actually can hit a target, which... I mean, suppose means the day's not been completely wasted. Oh my god, yes it can. Okay, so if you can actually get your HEKV missiles working properly, they can do the business. Okay, so it turns out there's a maximum altitude setting in the BD Armory menu. Who knew? But I think I fixed this, and hopefully, maybe, possibly, this will work now? Fingers crossed? Let's see. So we're getting to range, and the competition does start. Maybe those weren't HEKV kills. Maybe those were just maybe those were just the GM setting kills. Yeah. Okay. I take it all back about the HEKV. If I can actually speak properly, the HEKV missiles. Turns out not only can they hit the target, they actually work well. But oh my god, they maybe work a little too well. Right, I've disabled the HEKV missiles this time, so hopefully we'll get some gun action, which I think is what I want to see in this. So let's, one final time, let's get this competition going. Let's see if we have any more luck this time. I disabled those. I disabled those missiles. The hell is going on here? Well, let's see if Barnard and Kerma has any more luck dodging the missiles this time. Popping the chaff. Yeah, that missile just went well wide. Huh. It's a bit weird. Anyway, we are closing the distance. Hopefully we do get a bit of gun action before too long. Hang on, those missiles, do they just... Sometimes they like to turn around and come back at you, and it looks like that's exactly what this one is doing. Oh god, this is going to get complicated and messy, isn't it? There we go, our first volley of gunfire. Yeah, they are just kind of spinning round each other now, aren't they? Little bits of gunfire going in, but nothing really happening with any kind of hit. Oh! Speak too soon, that was beautiful. That was beautiful, a volley. A volley from Ghosty Kerman's. Ghosty Kerman's Centaur does a heavy amount of damage. Barnard Kerman tries to get a revenge volley in, but it doesn't quite hit. Yeah, I think we're still having the problem. Oh my god! That a lot of space combat battles have. That is that. Yeah, you still got some relative motion going on, which is causing the guns not to track properly. But we are having a little bit of a battle of attrition here, which is kind of cool. Gunfire coming in. Barnard and Kerban. Have I put on infinite ammo? I have not. Yes, I put on infinite ammo. Oh my god, that was beautiful! That was absolutely beautiful! Barnard and Kerban just throttled down his engines. Waited for Ghosty Kerman's craft to come up close, and then just unleashed this almighty volley. Ghosty Kerman's Centaur just sailed through the bullets and just got obliterated. Okay. That's gonna annoy me. I think we're just gonna turn that off and just throttle down a bit. So, what do I make of this kind of new space battle system? It's not quite all there. I don't think it's not quite. I think it needs a few improvements, but I think it is also an improvement over what we've had so far. I mean, that did get results eventually, which would have been impossible under any sort of previous system. So I like that, and I really, really am hoping the BD Armory devs do expand on this in the future. Anyway, but that will be all for today. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, and you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing, following me on Twitter, maybe getting involved with the Discord. Great KSP and BD Armory community on there. If you want to help support the channel, you can also get onto the PayPal or the Patreon. Links to all of that is in the description. I will be back soon with some more BD Armory, but until then, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.